Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Uflex Ltd Q1 FY26 earnings conference call hosted by Dolat Capital Markets Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Sachin Bobade from Dolat Capital Markets Private Limited. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anushka. On behalf of Dolat Capital, I welcome you all to Q1 FY26 earnings conference call of Uflex Ltd. Hope you all are staying safe and healthy. From Uflex management team, we have with us Mr. Rajesh Bhatia, Group President and Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Surjit Pal, Vice Chairman, Head of Investor Relations. Now I hand the floor to the management for their opening remarks, and then we would have question and answer session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sachin. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for the Q1 FY26 earnings conference call of Uflex Ltd. Let me draw your attention to the fact that on this call, our discussion will include certain forward-looking statements which are predictions, projections, or other estimates about future events. These estimates reflect management's current expectations about the future performance of the company. Please note that these estimates involve several risks and uncertainties that could cause our actual results to differ materially from what is expressed or implied. I would now request Mr. Rajesh Bhatia, Group President and CFO, for his opening remarks, following which we will open the forum for question and answer sessions. Over to you, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon to everybody who's on the call. Let me just give you a brief about how the quarter went, and then we'll have the Q&A sessions. So as you would have seen from the numbers that, the revenues are up by about 6.5%, close to about 4,000 odd crores, 3,922 crores for the quarter, driven by a volume increase of 7.9% on a year-on-year basis. And the packaging bit has grown by about 11.7% on a year-on-year basis. And volumes, I'm talking about the volumes, and the packaging films has grown by about 6.8% during the Q1 on a YOY basis. This volume numbers does not include the PET resin production, which is happening at our Panipat and the Egypt plant, because otherwise the numbers would have not been comparable. When I talk about the 7.9% sales volume increase, that excludes, any PET resin sales which are happening largely from India. On a PET resin production, I can share some numbers with you, which is in India we achieved a capacity utilization of 97% during the quarter, and in Egypt we achieved close to about 75% capacity utilization, which is very good for the first quarter of operations. Key highlights for the quarter are that, this quarter towards the end, around the third week of May, we saw, unfortunately, a very large player in the packaging film industry had an accident at its plant, and that changed the industry dynamics a bit. So the exports from India to Europe have come down. And the local availability of the BOPET and as well as the BOPP films has also gone down, with the result that the demand supply is more balanced now, which has led to better margins post this event happening, and a full reflection of that you'll see in the subsequent quarters, the additional margins which are which are there because of this supply side not being available now. Having said that, we've also seen an increase in the import volumes also, but still, I would say in the overall context, while the BOPET sees a very marginal increase, the BOPP part has seen a substantial increase, and the gross value addition has risen considerably during the quarter post this event. In terms of the other markets for us, the overseas markets, because we've had this huge ongoing issue of the tariffs, so a lot of back and forth happening, whether it was Mexico or Canada or some of the other countries. Our advantage is that we are present in 9 different geographies, and that gives us a bit of a flexibility as to if we are exporting to US, which is the best in terms of the lowest impact because of the tariffs imposed by the US. And happy to state that our large part of our exports from Mexico to US are covered under USMCA, and there is a nil duty as of now. And that will ultimately, if that remains so, that will ultimately give us an edge over the other countries who were selling to US, because everybody else is facing some sort of tariff on the exports to US. There is a bit of a negative news on India that the tariffs announced by US on Indian products are higher than expected, especially the additional the secondary tariff of 25%. I think we pretty sure that part will be taken care of, and even if there's no resolution found before the 27th, the deadline of 27th, we feel that that date will be extended to so that whatever US and Ukraine and Russia wants to achieve to end this war, so the time allowance will be there to take care of any delays therein. The other part of the tariff of 25% is also there. So one of the packaging we export from India to USA, so that will get impacted by this. So, but if the tariffs are about between 15 to 20% range, final tariffs on this also, I think we will be at a level playing field with the other countries who are supplying to US, and that will sort of put us almost at par with the other countries. In terms of the guidance for this year, I think there are the capex plans. What we had in terms of expanding the the aseptic packaging capacity from 7 to 12 billion packs, that has got some delayed. We were expecting that to start from January, the commencement of the season for 2025 calendar, but that has not happened. And despite that, we had, as I said, that we had on a YOY basis 18% extra volume in this quarter for liquid packaging. So that should happen anytime soon. The latest could be in H2, early part of the H2, but we could have it early than that also. The aseptic packaging greenfield expansion of 12 billion packs at Egypt is also likely to get commissioned in FY26. So is the WPP bags, which are used for the pet food industry, uh, is also at an advanced stage of commissioning. And then we have final one, which is our recycling facility in Noida, where we are expecting that, given the government initiative that 30% of the recycled content in the rigid packaging and 10% in the flexible packaging, so that recycling capacity will come very handy to take care of these the requirement of the products emanating from this government guidelines. On the whole, the margin for this quarter has been slightly lower. Same period last year, we had a 12.7% EBITDA margin, but this quarter it is 12%. Again, the India business has done well, but somehow because of the tariff uncertainties and because a lot of companies had stocked their material requirements well in advance, so we've seen some impact of that. And hopefully this is just a passing phase, and this will get sorted out in the next couple of quarters as to what are the final tariff policies of the U.S. I don't, and as I said earlier, if there are tariffs on other countries and not on Mexico, obviously we'll definitely see our margins improving overall in our U.S. business, because we may have some headroom to increase our prices in U.S. and still get the benefit of the USMCA to export to U.S. Again, one of the key features for this quarter is that we don't have any unforeseen in terms of exceptional losses for any foreign exchange. Last quarter, same period was about 180 odd crores, but this quarter, we don't have any such exceptional losses. So we expecting that next year we'll have the benefit of all these new investments getting commissioned, and by a reasonable estimate, we expect that these can add up to 3,000 crore of additional revenues at a reasonable 85% capacity utilization levels, and should give us about 600 crores add about 600 crores of EBITDA, because here we're talking about aseptic, we're talking about WPP bags, we are talking about the recycling biz, which are likely to generate a higher EBITDA than the conventional packaging films, where you look at about 11 to 13% kind of a margin range, depending on where you are in terms of the cycle in the business. But these products definitely, we've been telling you that even in India, in aseptic packaging, our margins are much better than margins what are there in the packaging or the packaging films industry. So overall, I think a decent quarter, and we are looking to consolidate this year, and then next year, when all these investments are available for producing, then we good to add a substantial amount of revenues as well as the profitability to our business. I think that is what there has been some increase in debt also during this quarter. As I said that, the ongoing capex, which has been approved by the board. The total amount is about 2,000 odd crores, out of which, as on 30th of June, we've already spent about 1,100 odd crores. The balance 900 crore is what is expected to be spent in the current year, as well as in the Q1 of FY27. So then that will take care of our, the investments that we've already announced to the market. I think that is what I wanted to convey. So India, the market dynamics definitely have changed post that unfortunate loss at one of the very large players, and so that will also change the dynamics in the export markets as well. We clearly seeing that the volumes from India into the European export markets and the US export markets will come down, and which will give you better pricing power, in those jurisdictions. And India, of course, will definitely see a better margins going forward on a consistent basis, because a very large capacity is now off the table, which will take time to build. That's what I had to convey during this investors call, and we are open to any Q&A. Whatever questions you have, we'll try to reply them to the best possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We take the first question from the line of Chirag Singhal from First Water Fund. Please proceed.
Thanks for taking my question. A couple of questions from my end. First, this Asepto expansion, this seems to be getting delayed. Now, the expected commissioning is in H2, and I think you have mentioned estimated outlay of $24 million, and that is already been incurred. So, what are the challenges that we are facing in commissioning, and are you expecting a further delay?
No, we are not. See, ultimately, the idea was if we can complete it by December 24 or early part of January, you will get the benefit of 25 calendar season. Now, if that is not happening, then whether it happens today or it happens 2 months later, this is not going to be a very substantial difference in terms of what the volumes or the selling, because now in the off season we're not constrained for the capacity. You are constrained for the capacity only in the peak season period, which is say from January to August, and so now any benefit of this will come only in the next calendar, so 26 calendar onward. From January onward, it should start. So we are close to achieving a commercial run for this, and it should happen quickly, more quickly than that. But the message that I'm going to convey is, even if it gets say done tomorrow itself, it's not give you any additional revenues and the profitability as of now.
So for the full year FY26, what is your guidance on total volumes in Asepto?
Asepto, we had earlier given a guidance of about 10 billion packs. Okay, so in the Q1 we have achieved about 2.3 billion packs. which is April, May, June. So I think we will look at somewhere around 8.5 billion packs now. Nine, uh, between
Close to
eight and
9
a
billion.
half to between 8.5 to 9.
Okay, understood. Now my second question is on you have mentioned, so I'm on this capacity utilization slide, and I can see that, in couple of regions, we have the capacity utilization has dropped on a sequential basis. So in Dubai, Nigeria, and Poland, we have seen, and even Mexico, we have seen a sequential drop in the capacity utilization. So if you can highlight the key reasons, and for the full year, how do you see the overall capacity utilization across all geographies?
So I think, as you rightly mentioned, these three are, have not performed as well on a sequential basis. So Nigeria is the worst impacted, where the impact is because of, the tariff being put by US. Nigeria has finally come on a 19% tariff basis, and earlier it was, when they had US had put, similar reciprocal duties on each country. They were at 10%. So I think because US and Mexican both production units are not able to cater to the demand in the US, in the North America and the South America markets. So this business will pitch in, but we still trying to see as to where we can optimize this. Like for example, in Egypt there is a 10% duty exporting to US. So I think eventually when everything will get sort of more settled, we'll see at that point in time about Nigeria. But clearly this quarter Nigeria underperformed because US had already stocked well in advance. Our customers had also stocked well in advance, and then this duty came, by virtue of which we decided to just keep the things a bit low during while this all gets settled down. Poland has typically been impacted because of exports happening from India, and as I said that, post, from June onwards, this trend has reversed a bit. In June, the exports from India into Poland, into Europe were much lesser, and that impact will come in the subsequent quarters, and we think that, that will give us some pricing power in Europe. The third is Dubai. Now Dubai is not much. There's no significant impact as such. It could be that the plant may be under a shutdown during a planned shutdown during this period and all that. That could be the only reason, but there is no specific reason for Dubai, because Dubai sells its products only in Middle East. So there's nothing as such on the Dubai business. But look at something. Hungary has done well, as compared to sequentially, as well as on a YOY basis. India has done well, and India is expected to do better in the coming quarters as well. So Egypt has done better in this quarter on a sequential basis. So I think overall Nigeria will get sorted, and Poland will get sorted in the next couple of quarters.
Overall, for full year, what kind of production volume I should work with? So in this quarter, you have done total 127,900 tons in the films section, and in the previous quarter it was a similar number. So for the full year for film, for the film division, what is the total production volume that I should work with?
Somewhere around 132 something per quarter.
132 per quarter. Okay. Got it. That is it from my end. Thanks for answering the questions. I'll get back in the queue.
Thank you. Before we proceed with the next question, a reminder to the participants, in order to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Aman Kumar from AK Securities. Please proceed.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Bhatia.
Good evening.
So my question related to BOPP margin in Mexico and Hungary. Since I think a lot of import was happening in Europe from India. So after this fire in India, in the Jindal plant, do we expect that the dumping from India will come down and the margins in Mexico and Hungary will, Egypt and Hungary will be better going forward?
So India से जो exports हैं, they are happening only to Europe. Okay.
Yes.
So India is not exporting to Egypt at all. So I don't know where did that information is coming.
No, I think from Egypt, I think we were exporting to that is confined to Egypt only, or वहाँ से यूरोप में export भी होता था from Egypt से BOPP.
Egypt exports to Europe, and from India there are exports to Europe. So with this unfortunate incident, the exports to Europe in the month of June versus the month of May have gone down. So I think they are likely to go down in the subsequent months as well. So let's see the impact of that in the current and the next quarter. But definitely this will give some pricing power to Europe.
Sir, ये BOPET when this overcapacity situation in BOPET will get over all over the world. I think there is overcapacity not in India but it's overseas also.
Overseas in the specific jurisdictions, there is no significant mismatch. It's only that because there is a significant mismatch is there in India. So India is exporting to these countries, and with the rupee depreciating against euro, I think so that is again helping the Indian exporters to drive better margins while exporting, and then keeping the demand supply equilibrium balanced in India. So BOPET में अभी कम से कम 2 साल और लगेंगे before any meaningful impact of the demand supply balancing could be seen.
Okay. And so next question regarding related to this flexible packaging business. So after long time, I think we are seeing a good turnover growth and is there. So ये margins भी better हो रहे हैं क्या? और आगे क्या लग रहा है, क्योंकि चीजें तो better दिख रही है FMCG sectors में going forward.
So this quarter for flexible packaging business, the volume grew by about 7.4% on a YOY basis. Okay. For liquid packaging, as I said, they grew by 18%, and holographic films, they grew by about 5%. So, but that is not a very substantial business. So the volume growth in the flexible packaging business is good, and the margins have also been better in this quarter on a YOY basis. So hopefully that momentum is there, and now if we, with the new announcements by Honorable Prime Minister that they'll lower the GST slabs, and there is increased demand for the food and other consumables and all that. So obviously it will impact the packaging demand as well. So hopefully, we'll see a better demand for this. But having said that, in the flexible packaging, we've not done any investment in the last few years. So in terms of what we can do in terms of additional volumes there may be very limited. Maybe then the strategy would be to move up the value chain and reduce your exposure on the low value-added products and all that, and do more pouches and other products, similar other products, rather than doing the roll form and all that. But we don't have much capacity over there which we can utilize to improve our volumes, revenues, and profitability.
So there is a lot of clarity is there in the recycling business. So whether we will see significant uptick in this business going forward, because 40,000 is a reasonable quantity, but I don't think it's a very major quantity. So where we see this business to grow going forward?
40,000 से तो इसमें काम चलेगा नहीं. 40,000 is just an initial number to test the waters and to see how serious the regulations are in terms of implementation. And these sort of paramount policy things takes certain time to stabilize, and then the results are seen. अगर 30% आपको मिक्स करना है इसमें और 10% फ्लेक्सिबल में मिक्स करना है, तो फ्लेक्सिबल में 10% का मिक्सचर का मतलब है एक्चुअली 25% ही मिक्स करना है. बिकॉज फ्लेक्सिबल में यू हैव बॉपेट, यू हैव पॉली, यू हैव BOPP. तो अगर उसमें एक पैकेजिंग में 1 किलो अगर वो लगता है पेट, तो टोटल 2.5 किलो की पैकेजिंग बनती है. तो इम्पैक्ट तो सारा बॉपेट कैटेगरी में ही आएगा, बिकॉज रिसाइकलिंग सिर्फ उसी में हो रहा है. तो उसमें सब्सटेंशियल वॉल्यूम्स आएंगे. बट ये थोड़ा सा आई थिंक धैर्य रखने की गेम है, बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट इसको, अब देखिए पहला साल है अभी, तो ये नेक्स्ट ईयर जब सरकार इसका ऑडिट करेगी या लोग अपने रिटर्न फाइल करेंगे, तब पता लगेगा कि वो कैसे इस चीज़ को ले रहे हैं, कैसे इसको कर रहे हैं. बट ऑन हैविंग सेड दैट, देन देयर आर कंपनीज हु आर ऑलरेडी टेकिंग action in terms of finalizing their strategy as to how do they want to achieve this and all that. But थोड़ा सा धैर्य रखना पड़ेगा हमारे को. हमारी कौन सी अभी फैसिलिटी रेडी है, हमारी भी एंड ऑफ द ईयर तक की रेडी होगी. तो नेक्स्ट ईयर में अगर हम लोग इसमें we have the production capability, and by the time the things get more crystallized in terms of how the government reacts to any underperformance in the current year, because in the current year, because there is not much of the product also available, so the companies can also say the product was not available locally, so we couldn't do this and all that. तो थोड़ा सा this is a sustainable business. End of the day, एक कोई रेगुलेशन है, वो रेगुलेशन में अब कटौती तो होगी नहीं. हो सकता है उसको सेक्टर होने में 1-2 साल एक्स्ट्रा लग जाए, but it is going to be there, and this will become a formidable business as for the industry.
And for Uflex also.
Obviously, for Uflex also, it will become a formidable business.
And so, do you think that this BOPET margin का bottom out हो गया? Now things will improve here onwards.
BOPET margins में इंडिया में improve हो गए थे, but इंडिया में अभी we are seeing higher imports from Southeast Asia and China also. So I think that keeps the prices in check. in check currently. I think
सर वो जो भी लोगों ने इंपोर्ट किया तो सबने अच्छा खासा नुकसान किया, तो आगे से इंपोर्ट करने से पहले आई थिंक दे विल थिंक ट्वाइस बिफोर इंपोर्टिंग एनी पॉपेट और बीओपीपी. डू यू थिंक इज इट राइट?
You are right over there, क्योंकि द इंडस्ट्री का भी पर्पस यही है कि इंपोर्ट्स वाला रास्ता नहीं देखें सब लोग, तो बेटर है. तो सब लोगों ने नुकसान किया, अभी प्राइसेस फिर कम हो गई हैं. तो आई थिंक अगर सर्टेनिटी नहीं होगी ट्रेडर्स को कि ये इंपोर्ट करने में कुछ देयर इज एनी मेरिट, so that will give a price advantage to the local manufacturers for sure. But better हो जाएगा, मतलब as you said bottom out हो गए हैं, so I would say bottom out हो गए हैं, but this was checked by higher imports in this quarter from Southeast Asia and China.
And sir, one last question, that कि BIS के लिए industry, whether industry is asking the government to implement BIS in packaging films, जिससे कि ये import के ऊपर में कुछ चेक लगाया जाए.
Industry is doing all that can be done to ensure that the local industry remains viable, and so they'll do everything. Don't worry about that.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot from this.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor & Co. Please proceed.
Namaskar, sir, and thank you for the opportunity. Sir, firstly, sir, we have mentioned about this virgin pet chips business, and we have outlined some capacities for Egypt and Indian capacities at Panipat. So firstly, if you could just explain, is it only the EPR part of the story which we are playing through this segment, and what is the revenue contribution going ahead when these will be running at full utilization levels?
So two things over here. They were initially planned during the COVID period, later part of the COVID period, when the demand supply situation was so bad that getting the raw material PET chips for our packaging films was becoming a very, very challenging thing. What had happened was during the COVID period, so in the industry structure, if you see, all those people who make resin for the PET bottles, they have always some surplus capacity which they want to, when optimize using, they produce the film grade PET chips also. Now, when the demand for the bottles also went up during the COVID period, so they didn't have this surplus available, and that is the time players like us who didn't have any capacity, internal capacity for this raw material, we started suffering badly in terms of availability as well as in terms of the price. So that's when we decided that we are a very formidable player. We are globally number one or number two, and we just can't leave business to the market. So we have to have a better handle on our raw material, and so that is where we set up a plant in India and then in Egypt. Now, we also knew that when you are producing at these plants, so since most of the capacity is going to be utilized internally, it will not add to any revenues, but it will add to your profitability.
Margin.
It will also give you a certainty of the raw material quality, because earlier you were procuring from various sources, whichever was the cheapest and quickly available. So that would have given more certainty to this business. So that was the whole intention. But in India, we also kept a provision that if we want to convert these into a bottle grade chips also, so we have a provision in the plant for doing that, and depending on the market prices, बॉटल ग्रेड चिप्स में अगर आपको बेटर मार्जिन मिल रहा है, सो हम लोग अपनी फिल्म के लिए वी बाय दिस रॉ मटेरियल फ्रॉम द मार्केट एंड प्रोड्यूस द बॉटल ग्रेड सो दैट वी गेट बेटर मार्जिन्स ओवर दिस. तो ये डायनामिक सी सिचुएशन है, चेंज होती रहती है. ये किस पे मार्जिन ज़्यादा है, पेट फिल्म्स में बनाने में बेटर है या बॉटल ग्रेड बना लीजिए बेटर है. अभी 2 क्वार्टर से ये हो रहा है पानीपत में कि बॉटल ग्रेड के वॉल्यूम्स हमारे बढ़ गए हैं कि हम बॉटल ग्रेड बना के बेचें तो हमारे को बेटर मार्जिन मिल रहा है. अभी तो हम अपना रॉ मटेरियल हो सकता है कि बाहर से खरीद रहे हों और बॉटल ग्रेड चिप्स बॉटल ग्रेड बना रहे हैं. तो इसी प्लांट में हम व्हाट वी आर सेइंग इज बिकॉज वी हैव ए कैपेसिटी टू मेक ए बॉटल ग्रेड चिप्स, और हमारा जो नया प्लांट आ रहा है वहाँ पे हम रिसाइकल चिप्स बनाएंगे. तो जो 70-30 का सरकार ने बोला है, हम अपने कस्टमर को 70% ये वर्जन चिप्स और 30% रिसाइकल्ड चिप्स नोएडा प्लांट से लाके मिक्स करके उसमें ही दे देंगे, ताकि ये कस्टमर को अपने एंड पे ये मिक्सिंग एंड ऑल दैट वो ना करनी पड़े.
तो इस तरह से इससे डुअल पर्पस रहेगा, आपका मार्जिन प्रोफाइल में भी इम्प्रूवमेंट आएगा एंड ईपीआर प्रोग्राम भी स्मूथ रन हो पाएगा.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
सर जैसे आपने प्रेस रिलीज में मेंशन किया है कि ये 18,000 मेट्रिक टन के जो सीपीपी प्लांट है मेक्सिको, दैट विल रैंप अप फॉर क्वार्टर 1 and 2. So, in terms of its revenue contribution, what should we look at it on an annual basis? And also, sir, we have spoken about capex and commissioning of, I think, the 4 projects. About the Egypt one, debottlenecking at Sanand, then the WPP for Mexico, and already you have spoken about the Noida recycling. So, सब मिला के इसका फुल बेनिफिट क्या हम H2 में फुल प्रोजेक्ट कंट्रीब्यूशन देखेंगे, और कैसा ये व्हाट काइंड ऑफ रेवेन्यू एडिशन आर वी एक्सपेक्टिंग फ्रॉम दीज कैपेक्स व्हेन दे आर स्ट्रीमलाइन्ड?
So I think I had already said that in my call. So current year में हम लोग इसका कोई बेनिफिट नहीं ले पाएंगे. सानंद का जो एक्सपेंशन है उसका बेनिफिट हम जनवरी ऑनवर्ड ले सकते हैं. तो अगर हम जनवरी में करीब फरवरी मार्च में करीब 1 बिलियन पैक्स अ मंथ अगर हम वो अचीव कर लें तो वो डेफिनेटली एक बेनिफिट आ जाएगा. तो जैसे मैंने बोला इस क्वार्टर में हमने 2.3 बिलियन पैक्स किए थे. तो अगर हम जनवरी फरवरी मार्च में ये एक्सपेंशन के बाद में 3 बिलियन पैक्स कर लें विच इज़ अ सीजन टाइम ऑल्सो, तो वो बेनिफिट टर्नओवर में आ जाएगा और प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी में आ जाएगा. बट उसके अलावा बाकी सारे जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं उनका बेनिफिट FY27 में ही जाएगा. और जो असेप्टिक का इजिप्ट में प्लांट है उसका बेनिफिट हो सकता है कि उसमें, क्योंकि इंडिया में भी जब हमने प्लांट लगाया था तो हमें कुछ टाइम लगा था. प्रोडक्ट अप्रूवल में टाइम लगता है. ये नहीं है कि आज आपने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग फैसिलिटी सेटअप कर दी तो हम डेफिनेटली हम लोग इंडिया से एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, क्वालिटी है, उसका बेनिफिट हमें मिलेगा. बट उसमें थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा टाइम लग सकता है बिकॉज द प्रोडक्ट में we've seen in the past that it takes a bit of a time, but yes, we'll be ready to serve the markets from in FY27. WPP हमारा आ जाएगा, रिसाइकलिंग आ जाएगा, बट असेप्टो इजिप्ट भी आ जाएगा. बट हो सकता है उसमें थोड़ा सा हमें उसको कैपेसिटी यूटिलाइजेशन लेवल्स बढ़ने में और प्रोडक्ट एस्टेब्लिश करने में थोड़ा टाइम लग जाए. Having said that, the total planned capex for all these 4 investments is about 2,000 odd crores, and we've already spent about 1,100 crores as up to 30th of June.
The last point what you mentioned,
The
100 crore we have already.
On a revenue
Hello?
side, said that इसमें करीब potential है करीब 3,000 करोड़ रुपए की top line का और EBITDA about 600 करोड़ रुपए का EBITDA potential है इन सब 4 projects में.
So total capex 2,000 crore, top line at peak utilization 3,000, and EBITDA at 20% translates to 600 crore. That is what the math should be.
Yes.
Okay. So sir इस साल तो फिर हमारे margins and all पे interest का pressure रहेगा because 1,200 we have already spent and balance 800 will be spent within the next 2 quarters only. So the net debt to EBITDA और ऊपर जाएगा.
हाँ, बट इसका P&L में इम्पैक्ट नहीं आता इस इंटरेस्ट का बिकॉज द इंटरेस्ट दैट यू इनकर ऑन द बोरोइंग्स टेकन फॉर दिस ऑल गेट्स कैपिटलाइज्ड एज पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट. हाँ, बट डेट नंबर आ जाएगा तो नेट डेट टू एबिटा थोड़ा सा और ऊपर जाएगा.
तो सर पीक क्या होगा हमारा? अभी 3.90 है.
हाँ, तो 4.1 तक मैक्सिमम होगा.
Okay. But sir, again, if we take the roadmap going ahead, what are the outlining after this? Since this capex and all were envisaged earlier and now, and the IRR were also worked out. So now going ahead, say from 2000, the next financial year, how should the debt trajectory should look like? Means whether this 4.1 will where it will go down or where it will be for the next financial year.
देखिए 4 या 4.1 जो है वो अगर हम लोग इसका 600 करोड़ का एबिटा भी ऐड कर लेते हैं ऑन एन एग्जिस्टिंग एबिटा ऑफ 1900 odd crores, तो हमारा एबिटा हो गया 2500 करोड़ रुपए का. तो 2500 करोड़ रुपए पे हमारा टोटल डेट अगर मैं इसमें मेरा टोटल साल का रीपेमेंट करीब 1300 करोड़ रुपए का है. मेरा टोटल डेट है अभी एज ऑन 7,300. तो 7,300 करोड़ का मेरा डेट है डिवाइडेड बाय 2500 मैं आ गया 2.92 पे. आई एम सेइंग मेरा शेड्यूल्ड रीपेमेंट भी है 1300 करोड़ रुपए का साल का. और अगर अभी मेरे को कुछ इन प्रोजेक्ट के लिए कुछ लोन ड्रॉ भी करना है इसमें, तो हम लोग with the new project getting commissioned and the revenues and the profitability kick in, we will surely be under 3.
We will be going down to 3.
Yes.
Sir, आपका opening remark मैंने ध्यान से नहीं सुना था, line डिस्टर्ब थी. तो if you could just give me firstly the operating landscape in terms of I think so I've spoken by other players also how the film segment margins moved up and then because of some imports they have now again trending lower. So taking those things into play out post the sad event in the month of end of May, how are things currently planned out for our film business segment in terms of the contribution margins or पर केजी एबिटा पर केजी अगर हम देखें ट्रेजेक्टरी तो अभी कैसी दिख रही है और मार्केट कैसा है?
So what I am saying is two things. One is India and other is overseas. In India, after this event, clearly the market dynamics have changed for the better. More better for the BOPP players, but even for the PET players, this became better also. But later, this was checked by a higher imports from Southeast Asia and China. And as it's a known fact that these traders have incurred losses because the domestic players also adjusted their prices accordingly. So that the impact of the capacity which is now not available in India will be seen in the medium term for sure. We seen more profound in the BOPP and less profound in the PET industry because of imports happening. Now, simultaneously, if we also link it to the global thing, now while India story was different because of this incident, that's how the market dynamics changed. In the overseas market, the dynamics changed because of the tariff by the US. And with the domestic incident, the export of the packaging films from India to Europe have come down already in the month of June and July. And if they keep on coming down, we'll definitely see a better pricing in the Europe market. In the US markets, because there was in anticipation of the tariff, the customers had already stocked the films and all that. So we saw hesitation on the customers to book to give more orders till they are clear that as to how the tariffs are going to settle. So there has been an unsettling impact because of the tariffs, and that is why in the quarter the demand in the North American markets remained a bit of a muted. I also said that we still have an advantage because we produce films in Mexico, and our exports from Mexico to US are very substantial. Whatever Mexico produces, 70% is exported into the North America market, largely to US. And if there are duties on all other nations, obviously it will give us an advantage, and we will have scope for better margins when we are exporting from Mexico to US. But this has to settle down over the next 2 quarters. Only then the final plans will be before all of us.
Right, sir. And sir, if we look at the P&L part, I just conclude also, P&L, when we look at the nature of our other operating income, if you could just explain what are the major key components and how are these other operating income are generated. And also, sir, when we compare June 24 versus June 25, what kind of, I think the volume, and you have given volume, and this revenue increase percentage is given, but the efficiency part in terms of whether power and fuel or employee cost, everything has gone up higher than what the incremental revenue has been. So where have we slipped in on these fronts, sir? और क्या steps हम ले रहे हैं ये cost को rationalize या lower करने में, sir? Other operating income का component and employee cost, power fuel cost, everything has moved up significantly.
So other operating income largely is a business income only. जैसे export incentives हैं आपके, या आपके business में जो scrap generate होता है वो sales हैं. So it is very much part of the operational income only. I've not gone through as to the rise in the other expenses proportionate to the sort of the higher revenues as well as the profitability, but because to a very large extent, if the market dynamics are also playing, so obviously you will find that if the revenues have come down, or if the profitability is lower, and you measure those costs in relation to these two factors, they will look way higher as compared to the comparison period. But that does not mean that you can reduce those costs just like that कि एक क्वार्टर में मेरे वॉल्यूम कुछ कम हो गए ट्रम्प की वजह से या किसी लोकल फैक्टर्स की वजह से, तो मेरी एम्प्लॉय कॉस्ट भी कम हो जाएगी. वो these sort of expenses are mostly fixed or semi-fixed in nature only, and yes, when you work out the percentages or per ton and all that, you will find it a bit higher, but more or less देखो आप कुछ ज़्यादा कर नहीं सकते हैं, you know, unless you structurally feel that your business, you have excess manpower, or your manpower is or if you've done a project where you have hired the manpower but अभी उसमें capacity utilization ही कम है, all those factors you have to take in your stride. I don't think so that you know, we keep on reviewing our manpower from time to time as to what is the cost and what are the other things, but nothing to worry about on all those factors.
तो सर जो रोड मैप लेकर हम पिछले क्वार्टर में जब हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे, वो that trajectory still holds ground post the exit of the first quarter in terms of the film margins, their realization. How are those things? सर जो रोड मैप हमने आउटलाइन किया था करंट ईयर के लिए in terms of the revenue trajectory, the margins trajectory post the exit of the quarter one, how confident are we that given the current business environment, we will be able to meet those trajectory as outlined earlier? So this EBITDA margin or the EBITDA which we have done for the Q1, how sustainable or how are the market factors contributing to the sustainability of the same? If you could just give us some more color on the same.
मैं समझ गया आपका क्वेश्चन. देखिए हमने गाइडेंस दिया था कि हम 10% से रेवेन्यू बढ़ जाएगा और EBITDA करीब हमारा लास्ट ईयर 1900 करोड़ था, इस साल करीब 2100 करोड़ रुपए के करीब हमारा EBITDA आएगा. अब फर्स्ट क्वार्टर में हमने ग्रो किया रेवेन्यू 6.4%. तो इसका मतलब जो बैलेंस पीरियड है 3 क्वार्टर्स हैं उसमें हमें 10% से ग्रो करना पड़ेगा our revenue to come close to that 10% revenue number. 11% से एक्चुअली ग्रो करना पड़ेगा. 11% ग्रो करने के लिए कुछ तो वॉल्यूम गेम होगा, बट लार्जली इट विल बी द प्राइसिंग गेम. सो होपफुली एंड यू नो Q4 में फिर हम लोग जो Q2 में Q1 में जो हमारा असेप्टिक वाला जो मिस हो गया Q4 में जाके आएगा, एक तो वो मिस है ही है. यू कैन से अबाउट 0.7 बिलियन पैक्स फॉर द क्वार्टर, 0.5 to 0.7 बिलियन पैक्स फॉर द क्वार्टर, वो तो मिस है ही. दूसरा वैल्यू जो प्राइसेस हैं एंड ऑल दैट, वो ऑब्वियसली विद द इंसिडेंट्स which have happened towards the fag end of the Q1 will drive the volumes and the prices better in the next 3 quarters. So hopefully we should be able to achieve that. अगर पूरा नहीं भी करेंगे तो Q2 में देखते हैं कि क्या करेंगे.
It will mainly depend on the film segment realization and its contribution margin. तो उस एस्पेक्ट में सर अभी we are on track post the exit of what the June quarter and what factors affected our जी.
पूरा नहीं है ट्रैक पे. Q1 वर्सेस जो हमने पूरे साल का प्लान किया था, थोड़ा सा सेटबैक है उसमें, बट वी विल अचीव दैट इन द नेक्स्ट 3 quarters. दैट इज व्हाट वी आर होपफुल.
जी. तो सर फिल्म सेगमेंट के रियलाइजेशन अभी कैसे ट्रेंड कर रहे हैं बोथ BOPP एंड बोपेट में एंड ग्लोबली सर? अभी ये दोनों सेगमेंट में फर्दर कोई कैपेसिटी एडिशन हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं रिमेनिंग 3 क्वार्टर्स में?
नहीं, इसमें तो अभी कोई कैपेसिटी एडिशन नहीं प्लान कर रहे हैं.
नहीं, ग्लोबली कोई और प्लेयर भी ऐड कर रहा है क्या सर? आई एम आस्किंग अबाउट हाउ आर द ग्लोबल कैपेसिटी एडिशन इफ एनी.
SRF ऐड कर रहा है इंडिया में. Then you have 1 or 2 other players who are adding BOPP in India. So BOPP में क्योंकि void हो गया है बड़ा, तो I think नाहर कर रहा है. और एक और था, 3 players ने कुछ
Frontier is also coming up soon.
Okay. तो अभी तक तो यही है, but you know history is not supporting us. हमने देखा है जब भी कुछ मार्जिन बढ़ते हैं एंड ऑल दैट, तो सब लोग जितने भी हैं इंडस्ट्री में सब लोग कहते हैं मैं भी एक एक लाइन तो लगा ही लूँ। अगर वो सब लोग जैसे पीछे पेट में किया था सबने, अगर वैसे ही होगा तो फिर अगेन ओवर कैपेसिटी की तरफ बढ़ जाएंगे अगले 3 साल में फिर।
और अभी रियलाइजेशन कैसे शेप कर रहे थे, ये पॉइंट में मिस कर गया। व्हाट यू मेंशन, हाउ आर रियलाइजेशन करेंटली?
रियलाइजेशंस अभी ठीक हैं इसमें, आई थिंक बेटर देन द पैट। ऑन ए ग्रॉस बेसिस वैल्यू एडेड में करीब 35 से, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द, अगर बेस एक फिल्म ले लें तो करीब 35% का मार्जिन है ओवर द रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट इन द VOPP।
राइट सर। एंड लास्टली सर, दिस सिंगल पैलेट सोल्यूशन आपने कुछ मेंशन किया है अपने प्रेस रिलीज में, इसका क्या सिग्निफिकेंस है? और प्रेस रिलीज में सर, इफ आई जस्ट टेक योर अटेंशन, पेज नंबर फ्रॉम पेज नंबर 14 ऑनवर्ड सर, आपने प्रोडक्ट वाइज मेंशन किया है, केमिकल्स, फ्लेक्स कोट एंड देन UV लेट। what are we trying to explain out of these few slides in terms of how our profitability and the business incremental business kitna aata hai? I think so 4-5 slides we have mentioned, wherein we have mentioned about special properties and all those stuff, but kahin sir
there are product capability things that we are telling you basically to make you understand that we are not a dormant company, we are evolving company। हम लोग अपने प्रोडक्ट्स में नई चीज़ें खोजते रहते हैं, नई चीज़ें करते रहते हैं, और उसकी वजह से ही we remain one of the best players in the industry। Now having said that, जो आपने पहला प्रश्न पूछा कि जो सिंगल पैलेट में क्या करेंगे, तो सिंगल पैलेट में मैंने ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेन किया कि हम लोग अब कस्टमर को 30% मिक्स करना है, ठीक है। तो कस्टमर के पास 2 ऑप्शन है कि एक तो ये ऑप्शन है कि वो वर्जिन भी खरीद ले और रिसाइकल्ड भी खरीद ले और अपने यहाँ मिक्स कर ले। दूसरा, अगर वो बेटर प्रोडक्ट चाहता है तो at a manufacturer end also, if he gets a product in which there is a 70% virgin material and 30% recycled content, it will work better for him। otherwise उसको हो सकता है कुछ मिक्सिंग की भी कुछ लगाना पड़े या वो उतना क्वालिटी नहीं मेंटेन कर पाए। सो वी आर ऑफरिंग दिस टू आवर कस्टमर कि आपको हम सिंगल पैलेट सोर्स दे देंगे वेयर you will get a prefix mix thing जिसमें आपको कुछ नहीं करना है, तो आप सिर्फ उसको अपने मशीन में चलाइए।
all are the EPR story के लिए that will add to that। Right, correct sir। So for investors, I think so for our side it is only how the debt trajectory shapes up going ahead, and I think so when we started conversating to 1.5 years earlier, Surajit sir did mention about some low hanging fruits which we were eyeing to capture, or so if Surajit sir is online and if he could just comment where are we in getting those low hanging fruits for the investing community, and if any comments।
तो वो 1-to-1 आप सुरजीत से बात कर लीजिएगा। आई थिंक आई हैव नो कॉन्टेक्ट what you are saying on the call।
Sir, in the call he had mentioned about, I think so। Maybe I may be incorrect also।
So that is what I am saying, I have no recollection of that। So Surajit is the best person to talk to, and if he is not able to give you an answer, then we can always engage कि क्या कॉन्टेक्ट था, बट अभी मेरे को कोई कॉन्टेक्ट नहीं समझ आ रहा इस बात का। दिस इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग।
Fine sir, we hope sir for value creation exercise for shareholders that is not exactly happening, so that was the reason why my question was। And That's all from my side. So thank you for all the elaborate discussion and all. Only one suggestion is that when the presentation is uploaded, if that could be done a day before the call, that will suffice. Lot of things. Lot of effort goes into the presentation. Kudos to Manoj ji, Surajit sir for preparing a very exhaustive report. So please provide us ample time to go through those also. 40 minutes are not sufficient. That is not doing justice to the same, sir. एक दिन पहले कर लीजिए या कॉल नेक्स्ट दिन कर देंगे.
तो ऐसा है, हम आपके लिए सिर्फ कॉल पे अवेलेबल नहीं है, तो अगर आपको हम जल्दी करने की कोशिश करेंगे, इसको करते हैं, बट हम अगर आपको आज मिला और आप नहीं देख पाए, कल देख लेंगे, परसों देख लेंगे, तो आप सेपरेटली हम आपसे एंगेज करके फिर आपके क्वेश्चंस और आंसर्स फिर दोबारा हम एड्रेस कर देंगे. कोई इश्यू नहीं है उसमें. तो इसको आप मत सोचिए कि मेरे को टाइम कम मिला तो मैं पूरी तैयारी नहीं कर पाया. कोई बात नहीं, इस कॉल पे नहीं तैयारी कर पाए तो हम आपसे 1-to-1 में
सर, मेरा पॉइंट यही था कि आप जब भी कॉल होस्ट कर रहे हैं तो प्रेजेंटेशन और कॉल के बीच का जो ड्यूरेशन है उसे एक दिन का दे दीजिए. तो उसमें काफ़ी क्वेश्चंस भी हमारे फिल्टर्ड हो जाते हैं. प्रेजेंटेशन पे आप इतना काम करते हैं और उससे सर उसका सही मूल्य नहीं मिल रहा है. यदि हम उसे आकलन ठीक से करें तो इतने क्वेश्चंस ही नहीं रह जाते क्योंकि बहुत मेहनत की जाती है प्रेजेंटेशन बनाने में. एंड आई एम वेरी वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू द टीम that goes and work for it. So that's all from my side, sir. I have spoken enough, and thank you, sir, for giving me the extended opportunity for putting forward my request. Hope we have someone has requested that somebody from the promoter also joining the call and listening to investors' feedback and giving their input, if any, sir. We have requested earlier also. So in the team next lineup or maybe once during the year, if somebody from the promoter team also participates and answers or listens to the investors and analysts, that would be a confidence boosting measure also, and that goes well in the investing circle also. My humble feedback, sir, if that would be deliberate also.
We'll surely work towards this and see if that can happen.
ठीक है, धन्यवाद सर. Thank you, the entire team.
Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Just 1 second.
Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time, questions, and continued support. The transcript of this call will be made available shortly on our website at www.uflexltd.com. We value this platform as it enables us to engage meaningfully with our investors and stakeholders, and look forward to keeping you updated on our progress in the coming quarters. Wishing you all a pleasant day ahead.
Thank you. On behalf of Dolat Capital Markets Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.